Hello there guys, and welcome back to once again another live stream here on the Speed Force Racing YouTube channel. Today we will be racing around the beautiful Emilia Romagna Grand Prix track, as it is of course going to be in Imola, Italy. We have got around 15 of season I have actually no idea what season we are in. Hold up a minute, let me have a quick look. Season 15. I wasn't sure about that. I did think it was 15, but we're in season 15, around 15 on Imola today. We got a couple of guys out on track already, with Mindful Wasp this time around being the first driver out on track. Usually it is Mark Werty, who is in P2 this time around. He is currently entering Sector 2, as you can see on the map on your bottom right. Mindful Wasp is going to warm up his tires, of course, here in Imola, a very important thing to do, as you've got a lot of fast corners in Sector 1, in Sector 3, and you definitely don't want your tires to be cold at any point during this qualifying round. Mindful Wasp is going to let a couple of guys go through, as that is, of course, to create some kind of space behind them, as you don't want anyone being right behind your neck, right behind your car, because that gives some kind of pressure, which is obviously not great for you as a racing driver. Now you can benefit from a little bit of slipstream if you can keep it behind the car in front of you. And here they come around the last corner. Imola, a very well-known circuit. I think the first race was in 1986, but I could be wrong. And then it was still a part of San Marino, but now it is falling under the Italian flag. Imola. So here comes Mindful Wasp. Let's take a look around the track with Mr. Mindful Wasp, as we've got a very long straight, the only DRS straight here on this track, as there will be a lot of overtaking opportunities for a lot of guys here coming down the straight into turn 1. And we've got turn 2 being a fast left-hander, a fast right-hander coming into turn 3, into turn 4 a fast left-hander, and then we've got another chicane into turn 5, and then we've got turn 6 being a hard braking zone into turn 7. And he's got the fastest first sector already, beautifully done by Mindful Wasp, fast on the throttle, and you want to take that curb on the exit as much as possible. Into turn 8 he goes, fast left-hander, take as much curb on the exit as possible. Also the entry is very important to grab a little bit of curb. Into turn 9, into turn 10 he goes, a little bit of an uphill corner. Now we've got the chicane, of course, here in Imola. A very difficult one. We saw Charles Leclerc bid it into the wall a couple of years ago. This time around, Mindful Wasp seems to be quite clean coming through the chicane. Heading into those fast left-handers, of course. The two left-handers of Imola. And it's anti-clockwise. So it's not clockwise, it's the other way around. Usually a couple of guys tend to struggle around tracks like these, because it's not the usual way to go around the circuit. Usually we go clockwise, like Australia, like Belgium, like Spa, like Spain. All of those tracks are clockwise, and Imola is a track that is anti-clockwise, so a lot of guys are going to be struggling. The V-Car putting himself on pole for now. Calvin Racing is on a fast one, currently entering Sector 3 in a couple of seconds. As he's coming around the last couple of corners in Sector 2, really need to watch out for tire overheating coming through that part of the track. But during a qualifying session, the guys are not going to be struggling with that at all. Here comes Calvin Racing entering Sector 3. And I do think that Calvin Racing might be able to put him on pole today. He's not been there lately, qualifying pace-wise. But he might be showing us that he's still got what we expect him to do. He does indeed put himself on pole at 1:15.4. Last week he had put a last first challenge, and he did indeed complete it. He had a qualifying ban, if I'm not mistaken, managed to get into P20, then got back on track with a good qualifying, with a good strategy, safety car strategy. He managed to come ahead of a couple of guys with some fresh tires, and he managed to get the race win. So last the first challenge from Calvin Racing. Absolutely amazing, not something that I would have expected. And Mindful Wasp going really, really slow. He's letting a couple of guys go past. Let's go on board with a couple of guys who haven't come across the line yet. Ellie being one of them. Comes across the line right now with 116.6. Puts herself in P9. A lot of guys on the out lap. Mansell being one of them. Mansell, of course. I wouldn't say he's doing bad, but he could be better. Last week he crashed out himself or got crashed out. I couldn't remember quite well. But he climbed back up and he managed to get a top 5 position, if I'm not mistaken. And around the last corner for the Haas driver. Oh, almost invalidates the corner there. I mean, the lap is what I should say. Track limits are very, very difficult here around Imola, because usually into those last couple of corners here in Imola, you tend to go a little bit too much over the curb and you grab a warning, and we're going to be seeing a lot of penalties here today in Imola. Here comes Mansell onto the curb in turn 5 and turn 6. Beautifully done by Mansell early on the power. Through turn 7, takes a little bit of a too tight of a line. I would say go a little bit deeper into turn 7. He will be able to carry more speed through that corner. Takes a lot of curb there on the exit. Beautifully done. Turn 8, turn 9, and turn 10. Fast right-hander, as you can see. It is a hard braking zone, but it is a very fast one. You really need to be patient coming through that part of the track. Yo, Calvin, how are you doing, mate? Here comes Massey. He's got the fastest second sector. Udkar's putting himself on pole for now with 115.1. And what is Mansell going to be able to do? He's got that qualifying pace in him. But is it going to be enough to put himself on pole? Once again, another almost track invalidation. Lap invalidation is what I should say. Here he comes across the line at 115.4. Puts himself in P3. Did not have a great third sector, I would say. Blizzard, one of the new guys. I haven't seen him around very often. He's on a fast one in the Mercedes car. And we've got Boss Gaming also in the Mercedes car. Both drivers replacing Tashkern and Utkar. No, not Utkars. Tashkern and Shaggy, of course. Tashkern being a Mercedes driver. He's in the top 10 of the Drivers' Championship. I think Shaggy might be there too, but I could be wrong. And Imola, a very difficult track to overtake on, because usually the guys tend to make an overtake in Sector 1. Which is not ideal, because you've got those fast corners in turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4. And you've got turn 5 and turn 6, a very fast corner, section 2. Turn 7 is a possibility, but that's already in sector 2. And you've got turn 9 being a very fast left-hander. 1 second, guys. How are you doing, mate? Blisser coming across the line to put himself in P16. Mad G on a fast one. He seems to be very fast. Fastest second sector. But as I said, you know, turn 8 is what I should say. Turn 8, a very fast left-hander. You can throw it down the inside, but it's a risk you have to take. Usually wouldn't suggest it. We've got turn 9 and 10. Very fast uphill corner. Wouldn't make an overtake there. Mad G coming across the line to put himself in P6. Not bad at all by the Ferrari driver. As Keeves is also on the fast lap. Yo, I think it is Martin, but I could be wrong. Good evening, Speed Force Racing. I'm basically talking to myself, but I mean, because I'm on the Speed Force Racing YouTube channel, you know, quite funny. Keeves did invalidate his lap, so he won't be able to improve. So he'll come back into the pits. Still 8 more minutes on the qualifying timetable. So we still have plenty of time to come into the pits and put on some new rubber. Blisser being on a fast lap at the moment. Not 100% sure. Not sure if he's got enough ERS left. He doesn't seem to be going full throttle, so he won't be on a fast lap. Bossy is on a fast lap, and he's improving by 5/10. That would place him in the top 11. Putting Doran a little bit further back to P12. Here comes Bossy Game, and into the last sector he goes. Has to watch out for the car down the inside. That was his own teammate. No, it wasn't. Oh, and he goes off track. Oh, and he invalidates his lap. Bossy Gaming will have to come back into the pits because he doesn't have enough ERS left, but he goes for it anyway. He improves by 1.4 seconds. That would have put him in the top. Ooh, that would have put him in the top. Ooh, that would have put him in the top 4. No, top 3 even. That's crazy. If he didn't, oh man, if he didn't invalidate it, would have put him in the top 3. That is crazy. And I'm still surprised to see the V car in the top 5. Look at that. The Alfa Romeo driver. Wouldn't expect that. Going into this race, a 115.6, only 5 tenths away from pole time. But we do tend to see a lot of guys improve during the last stages of this qualifying. And I think Oliver is on a fast one too, but he goes a little bit awkward coming through that fast left-hander. I feel like he should have carried more speed, but I could be wrong. I'm not a racing driver myself, so... I mean, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Calvin Racing across the line with a 114.7. Not a bad lap at all, but Oliver might be able to do something about that. He's got the Mercedes driver right in front of him. Has to watch out, though. Might carry a little bit of downforce issues coming through this corner due to dirty air. As the Mercedes driver is coming into the pits, what is Oliver going to do? Across the line, he comes with a 115.7. We'll put him in P8. Oh, and Matt G retires from the session already. He doesn't think he's going to be able to improve anymore. Energy Dan only in P14, but he's improving on his time by 200ths of a second. Looks a bit awkward for Energy Dan coming through this part of the track, but that doesn't mean it is slow. Usually, when I say things are looking awkward, they tend to be very, very fast. And that is something I'm trying to improve. But, I mean, you never know. You never know. Here comes Energy Dan around the last couple of corners. The 2 left-handers. Very well-known left-handers. And we are going to see a couple of desperate moves in the last couple of corners here in Imola. Through that corner section, Energy Dan improves by 900ths of a second. It will still place him in P14. Not a great lap by Energy Dan. Kvyat is on a fast one, it seems like. No, he's just come across the line, I think, with a fast one. No, he's improving by another 5 tenths. Will place him in the top 4. It's looking great for the Ferrari driver. Let's see if he can continue this sort of pace in the race. But first, he needs to finish his qualifying lap. The Haas driver down the inside right there. There goes Kvyat. Will grab a little bit of toe from the McLaren driver in front of him. But it won't be too much. Here comes Kvyat across the line with a 115.3, improves by 4 tenths, which will place him in P4. Not a bad time at all, and I think he's one of the new guys. He is not been racing in a race I've commentated before, if I'm not mistaken. Billy on a fast one. Not up in his time, 2 tenths slower. So got that Alpine car down the inside. That might be Keeves. That might be Keeves indeed. I'm just gonna check the live stream real quick, guys. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, sounds all good, guys. Sounds all good. Doesn't sound too bad. Billy coming into the pits, and we might want to go on board with Mr. Wiggles, also a very fast driver. Hasn't been there lately, so I'd say pick up your game, Mr. Wiggles. You'll be able to get yourself in the top 10 someday. Keeves around the last couple of corners. He's got a little bit of toe from the Mercedes ahead of him, so I'm not sure if that's going to be giving him any troubles. Because you will get the slipstream down the straight, but you also will have the dirty air coming through the corners. Keeves improves by 2 tenths for some reason. I don't think he was on a fast when he was on an outlap. And here he comes down the straight into turn 1, into turn 2, into turn 3. Has to watch out for the curb on the exit, and he does indeed watch out into turn 4 and 5. Got turn 6, turn 7 right now. Oh, he's not up in his time, 700 slower. That doesn't matter too much. Might be the dirty air coming through that fast section here in Imola. Into that fast left-hander. A lot of fast corners, which makes it even more difficult to make an overtake. There's not much runaway room because every corner, well, every corner has either got grass or gravel. Oh, and he's got that Mercedes. Oh, I think it's a bit of a distraction for Keeves at the moment. He does improve in Sector 2, but not enough to improve on his whole lap. Because he lost 700s in Sector 1, improved by 300s in Sector 2. And let's have a quick look if he's going to be improving in Sector 3. It does seem like it. It does seem very fast for Keeves. A 115.7 is the time to beat. He's going to back out of it. 8/10 slower will not be enough for Keeves. He's only going to be in P11. Yo, Melissa, how are you doing? Keeves is not doing great today. You'll have to... how do you say that in English? Cheer him up a little bit, because P11, I did not expect that from Keeves at all. Doran coming into the pits, his own teammate is even beating him. Usually, ooh, Cassidy putting himself in P3, not a bad lap at all. He is improving by another 10th coming into Sector 2. Playing around with the track limits right there, as you can see. Almost invalidates, but not quite yet. Takes a lot of curb down the inside in turn 10. Into turn 11 and 12 he goes. Is he going to be improving? He is improving by 800ths of a second. That would possibly place him in the top 2. Right behind his own teammate, Calvin Racing, who is more than 4/10ths in front of Utkarsh. Getting into those fast left-handers. Here comes Cassidy. Playing around with the track limits, as I said. Oh, goes early onto the throttle. Almost invalidates. And he's putting a 115.0, improved by more than a 10th in that last sector. So that will be a P2 for Cassidy. And I'm not sure if anyone is going to be able to compete with that 114.7. Kvyat might be able to, coming through that Sector 1. But of course, Italy, with a population of more than 50 million people. Very big country, a very big racing country. A lot of Italians love to watch races. And I would say they have one of the most amazing fan bases, being the Ferrari fan base. And, you know, they've got, you know, oh, Kvyat invalidates his lap. You know what the thing is with Italy and their races and all that kind of stuff? The racing team of Ferrari, they bring a lot of fans from all around the world. I'm gonna be honest about something. Mercedes only has British fans because they have 2 British drivers. Red Bull only has, you know, fans because they're winning. But Ferrari has fans because they're a lovely team. You know, they're passionate about the sport. They're passionate about their brand and all that kind of stuff, and it shows greatness. That is what I love to see. Utkarsh is not going to be able to improve. Mindful was coming across the line. Mansell might be able to up his time. Yes, indeed he does. Coming into P2 goes the Haas driver. Anyone at the back of the grid. Keeves might be up on his time. He's not up on his time, so I think the top 8 has already been set. Mr. Wiggles currently in Sector 3. Utkarsh retired from the session, dropped back all the way to P5 after his pole time for a couple of minutes during this qualifying session. Here comes Mr. Wiggles. Is he going to be up on his time? He comes back into the pits. Doesn't improve. Almost goes into the back of the Aston Martin. Not sure what was happening there. And then we are going to be done with this qualifying session. Calvin Racing is still up on his time, but he comes back into the pits. Doesn't want to improve by any more seconds, or 10s, or 100s, or 1000s. And that will be your qualifying session here in Speed Force Racing. Gonna delete my camera so you guys can see what is happening on stream, and of course the timetable, and I'm gonna listen to the live stream for one more time. Alright, so here we have got the standings or the results of the qualifying session. Calvin Racing takes pole for tonight in Imola, a 114.7. Mansell in P2 with a 114.9. And Cassidy in P3 with a 115.0. Only 2.5 tenths away from Calvin Racing. Further, we've got Mindful Wasp, Utkarsh, Kvyat, the V-Car, Doran, Magi, and Oliver in the top 10. Thieves, Keeves struggling to get into the top 10. He's putting himself in P11, Mr. Wiggles in P12, and Energy Dan in P13. We should go to the back of the grid really, really fast. MCFC with possibly a qualifying ban. R. Richt OG, my best qualifying ever, not penalty grid. Fair enough, mate. That is really unfortunate. But what can you do about it, right? What can you do about it? If you get a qualifying session, qualifying ban, you get a qualifying ban. I'm just gonna check one more thing, guys, because I think I've messed up my my audio settings. I'm just gonna fix that real quick before we're gonna get racing. This should be 10. Compressor should be 15. Let's try 13. Expander, that is alright. Noise suppression, that is alright. This is not great. Hold up, this is not great. This should be 5. And this should be 7 maybe. There we go. Okay, the quality of the microphone should be better right now. Hopefully it is going to be better for you too. And we're waiting in the pit lane right now for everyone to ready up. So hopefully we're going to be good to go in a couple of minutes. And we've got a formation lap first. So here we go. Let's have a quick look at the tires. Mediums for a couple of guys, hards for a couple of guys, and only one person starting on the soft tires. That is going to be Cluster all the way in P18. The pole sitter starts on the hards. Mansell is going to be trying to make the overtake on the mediums, of course, and then Cassidy starting on the hards too. The same strategy for the Red Bull guys. The Mindful Wasp in P4 on the mediums. Utkarsh on the hards in P5. And we've got a disqualification already. There's Mr. Wiggles has left the session 2. Mark QWERTY leaving the session 2 after he's been disqualified. Do we have a lobby restart? That could be the case. Let me have a quick look. Energy Dan disqualified. Keeves leaving the session. Yes, so we do have a lobby restart, it seems like. So we will be back in a couple of minutes. Uh, oh, mate. Yes, I could. I could have actually done that, but you know, I don't know if any of you guys want to hear me sing. I'll sing a song for you right now because we're all waiting for the lobby to start. Please press X. We are all waiting to start because Kvyat pressed the X too soon. Yeah. Oh, oh, damn. Oh, damn. Yeah. Yeah, no more singing for me. No more singing for me. Yeah. Here we go. We've got another formation lap. I don't know why they did this. All right, here we go. Oh, camera's gone. Camera is back. Here we go. Ready to go, ready to rumble, ready to mingle. We've got all the guys on the grid today, 14 plus 7 drivers. And we've got a lot of guys running the same strategy, which I love to see. There goes the Red Bull driver off track in the formation lap. Was a little bit too enthusiastic about warming up his tires. We've got Calvin Racing on the hards, Mansell on the mediums. He's letting Calvin Racing go past again. Cassidy on the hard tires, so both the Red Bull drivers on the same strategy. Mindful Wasp on the mediums, and Utkarsh and Kvyat both on the hard tires in the top 6. Further, we've got the V-car with a surprising P7 in the qualifying on the mediums. Then a lot of guys behind him on the hard tires, 5 to be exact. Those are going to be Dorn, Maggie, Oliver, Keeves, and Mr. Wiggles all the way to P12. And we've got Energy Dan, and Billy, and Alex Hawk starting on the medium tires. Not a great qualifying from those 3, but we might be able to see them gain a couple of positions throughout the race. Ellie with an unfortunate P16 starting on the hards, Boss Gaming in P17 on the medium tires. Cluster is the only driver on the grid with the soft tires. I think he's also the only Dutch driver, if I am not mistaken, on the grid. He's going to be running the soft tires all the way in P18. Mark Werty and MCFC both on the hard tires. MCFC had a qualifying ban, so he's going to be starting all the way at the back of the grid. Imola, it is a great track. We are possibly going to be seeing a chaotic turn 1 or turn 2, I should say, because turn 1 is that fast. I mean, it's not really a corner, but they do count it as a corner. I don't see it as a corner, if I'm being honest. You've got turn 1, which is the first real corner. Well, turn 2, which is the first real corner. But we'll still call it turn 2. All the guys putting their cars on the grid at the moment. And I'm really wondering what strategy these guys are going to be running, because I do think there's going to be an early safety car, and then the guys on the starting on hard tires are going to be struggling because they'll have to take those hard tires for a long time with them. So here we go, all the cars on the grid. We've got season 15, round 15 for you in Imola with the Imola Grand Prix here in Italy. We've got 5 red lights for this race tonight. It's 5 red lights, and away we go. A good start from Calvin Racing already down the inside of Mansell. It seems like Mansell does have a good start off the line. Cassidy right behind Mansell. He's right behind his teammate too. Mansell around the outside. Is he going to leave room for Cassidy? Does look like it. Yellow flag at the back of the grid, and the top 3 did not change. Neither did the top 5. Neither did the top 6, actually. The V-car still in P6. Or he did gain a position on Maggi, if I'm not mistaken, starting on those medium tires. There's someone going wide. That is possibly Energy Dan, who's gained a lot of positions already. Cluster in P11 already, as he is on those soft tires, so he's gained a lot of positions coming all the way from P18, currently already in P11. So he's gained 7 positions. He's going to go around the outside. He backs out of it. The Ferrari driver trying to make the overtake on the V-car. And Bossa Gaming seems to be finding his way throughout the grid. Let's have a quick look with the position changes. 4 positions gained for MCFC, and 2 drivers have lost a lot of positions. Kvyat dropping 13 positions. And there goes the McLaren driver. The Mercedes driver seems to be taking him out. That was a Bossa Gaming who's taken out Ellie. Unfortunately, I think Ellie is stuck on the curb, but I could be wrong. She does set back to track. So we might want to go back to the front of the pack as Mansell is right on the tail of Calvin Racing, and we are going to be having a DRS train here all the way from P1 until P8. but the DRS has not been enabled yet. Mansell around the outside seems like he has a lot of straight line speed coming through the straight, of course. Can't hear anything but you, Thomas. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Adams. Appreciate it. Here we go. We've got the race sound again. Calvin Racing seems to be struggling onto the curbs. Utkarsh didn't give up a single position, but the V-car with a surprising P6, and he's able to keep up with the top 5. I think he's done some practice, because look at this. We've never seen the V-car be anywhere near the top 5, but today he's on a roll. He's on fire, Mr. Alfa Romeo. And his teammate, Mr. Wiggles, not bad either. Gained 3 positions, starting in P12, currently in P9. It seems like the V-car is going to try and make a move up the inside. He's going to back out of it. Mergo off to a good start on the softs. Yes, 100%, currently in P11. Not bad at all. And Mindful Wasp seems to be taking a quick gap to Utkarsh. 7/10s already. Utkarsh need to push a little bit more here in lap 3. Because otherwise he's going to be struggling without DRS. Because he's got the V-car right up his ass. Also Mad G. Here comes the V-car. Up the inside he goes. DRS has not been enabled yet, but he's going to go for it anyway. Utkarsh already blinking with the ERS. So that means he's got no ERS left in the tank. And I feel like the V-car, look at this. We haven't seen this from the Alfa Romeo for the whole season yet. And Mad G seems to be keeping up with the Alfa Romeo too. So we're going to be having quite some battles here between those guys. Woodcar's definitely not hoping to see the V-car in his rear view mirror. But he does anyway. He sees that fast Alfa Romeo. And the V-car just has something to prove. Calvin Racing getting chased from behind by Cassidy. The Red Bull drivers need to watch out for not taking each other out, because that is something we've seen in the past, not necessarily from the Red Bulls, but from other teammates. We've seen that in the past. I think the AlphaTauri guys, if I'm not mistaken. Mindful Wasp, here he comes. No, it was from Haas, by the way. It was from Haas. Here comes Mindful Wasp around the outside. Not much room has been given by Cassidy, but just enough for Mindful Wasp to make the overtake. Now down the straight they go. Mindful Wasp has a little bit of an awkward line. The V-car up the tail of Utkarsh. Utkarsh just simply has no DRS, no ERS, and he cannot keep this position. He is on the hard tire, so that might be an explanation why Calvin Racing around the outside. Oh, they almost touched, but Mansell with a good switchback, possibly. Here he comes, down the straight. It's a little straight, though, so I don't think he'll be able to gain a position. But with a good exit coming through turn 6, he will definitely be making a move into turn 7. Down the inside he goes, or does he not? He does not. And he's going to back out of it. A long DRS train until P9. And at the back of the grid, we are looking at some close positions too. Cluster on the soft tires. He might be able to make an overtake on Energy Dam pretty soon. Those soft seems to be very soft still. Very fresh still. Still in lap 4. Usually the softs don't work in Imola early in the race. At the end of the race they seem to be doing better, but at the beginning of the race a lot of guys tend to struggle. He dropped back to P12. We might want to go back to the front of the pack. I think someone crashed there up ahead, but I could be wrong. Cassidy indeed, he's losing a bit of time. Look at that, 8/10s to Mindful Wasp. So I think Mindful Wasp has made that overtake down the straight. And now he's going to have a possible overtaking opportunity on Mansell. Mansell with the DRS. Mansell with the DRS. Down the straight he goes. Will he be able to make an overtake on Calvin Racing? Possibly. The DRS wide open for these guys. Mindful Wasp doesn't have a single ERS left. Here comes Mansell. Around the outside he goes. A little bit of wheel touching there between Calvin Racing and Mindful. Oh, Mansell. Oh, and now Mindful Wasp has to back out of it. Calvin Racing blocks Mindful Wasp's way, and now Cassidy can make the overtake up the inside. A little bit of room has been given by Calvin Racing, but possibly not enough for Mindful Wasp to get past. Now Mindful Wasp gets another 3-second time penalty. It's his first one, and it's the first one of... No, it's not the first one of the whole grid. And now Mindful Wasp trying to make the overtake. Cassidy looking to go down the inside of his own teammate. Has to watch out. And the top 9 is still within DRS of each other. And here comes Mindful Wasp. Possibly wants some redemption for what has happened to him a couple of corners ago, because that was... I'm obliged to say that Calvin Racing might possibly needed to give Mansell a little bit of more of room around the outside into turn 2. Getting spicy, getting very spicy out there. Possibly Martin in the chat. It's very spicy. But in my opinion, Calvin Racing could have given Mansell a bit of room around the outside. Now Cassidy is going to make an overtake on his own teammate. Up the inside he goes. And might possibly be making an overtake on Mansell. He decides to back out of it. Mindful was... No, he taps the Haas driver on the back. Should definitely watch out with that. And then, of course, Mindful Wasp seems to be making the overtake on Calvin Racing. Calvin Racing might possibly have given that position back. And now the V-car, this is insane from the V-car. Oh, and somebody has crashed. That is Cassidy dropping back all the way to P9, possibly P10. Is going to lose even more positions. Not sure what has happened there. Mansell now takes a lead of 1.2 seconds on Calvin Racing. And now it's his time to push for the Haas driver. How many more ERS does he have in the tank? Plenty of left in the tank, more than 50%. And now it's the time to push indeed. Calvin Racing possibly does not have a lot of ERS left in the tank. No, he doesn't. 40% compared to 50% off. Mansell is possibly a bit too few. And now the V-car up into P3. I think there has been an incident between Cassidy and... Let me have a quick look, because the V-car was... Oh, Mindful Wasp. Might have been Mindful Wasp, because Mindful Wasp dropped back to P11. Which is obviously not great. Let's go on board with the AlphaTauri driver. He's right on the tail of the Williams and the other AlphaTauri driver. So I think Energy Dan is going to help Mindful Wasp to get past him, and also get past MCFC as soon as possible. Down the straight they go. Oliver making the overtake up the inside of Utkarsh. Utkarsh losing another position. Now, it's not looking great for the Williams driver out here, but he's running those hard tires, so he will be having the fresher tire at the end of the race, the faster tire at the end of the race. Mansell still having a lead of about 1 second on Calvin Racing, but it seems like Calvin Racing is definitely trying to catch up to Mansell at the moment, as it seems like Mindful Wasp did manage to get past Energy Dan. And I'm not going to say anything, but look at the position gained for MCFC. He's possibly going to gain another one on Mindful Wasp here on the tail of the AlphaTauri driver. Cassidy with a 3-second time penalty. He's going to drop back all the way to P16 possibly. Here comes MCFC with a good exit. Around the outside he goes, and these two have an history, so he needs to watch out with not making Mindful Wasp even more angry than he is already, because of MCFC's interesting driving style every now and then. Into the chicane they go. And it's getting spicy indeed. And the lovely thing about this track is that there is a long DRS train, so we will be seeing some positions up and down for a lot of guys. You see Oliver qualifying in P10, currently in P4. You've got Mr. Wiggles qualifying in P12, currently in P6. Here comes Mr. Wiggles up the inside of Utkarsh. Utkarsh losing another position, and it seems like Calvin Racing has taken the lead of the race again. The V-car up in P3, and what have the Alfa Romeos eaten today? What have the Alfa Romeos eaten today? I don't think we've ever seen the Alfa Romeos be anywhere near the top 5 today, and it seems like the V-car and Mr. Wiggles both are in the top 5 today, which is absolutely crazy to think. Oh no! And the Haas driver takes out the V-car. Mansell. Oh, Jesus. The V-car couldn't be more unlucky. Oh, what a race he has driven up to this point. Mansell taking out the V-car coming out of turn 7. What a feisty battle between those two. And unfortunately, things did not end up well for the V-car. He's gonna have to come into the pits because he doesn't have a single front wing left on his car. That is absolutely outrageous for the Alfa Romeo driver. Oh, I'm frustrated. I am frustrated. Oh man, I'm really frustrated. This is sad. This is a sad moment. 2 seconds of silence for the Alfa Romeo team. Thank you very much. That was the silence. Oh, and a drive-through penalty for Mindful Wasp. No way. Here comes Oliver making the overtake on Calvin Racing. I don't think Calvin Racing thought it was going to... Oh, and a 5-second time penalty for Mansell. Oh, Jesus, this race, it couldn't be getting any worse. I mean, not that it's been a bad race, but we've seen a lot of crashes already between Mindful Wasp, between Cassidy, between Mansell, between the V-car. Oh, and the V-car drops back to P17. What a race he has driven up to this point. Absolutely outrageous. And we are seeing a little bit of a gap forming between P5 and P6. Alex Hawk DNFs, and we've got our first real safety car in lap 9 out of the 32. We're past 1/3 of the race, and Alex Hawk is going to be our first DNF of tonight. What strategy will the guys be going on? The guys on the medium tires are having the benefit though. We've got Energy Dan and Bossy Gaming both on the medium tires. They'll probably coming to the pits to go onto the hard tires to finish off the race on those hard tires. The guys on the hards, I'm not 100% sure. Cluster has dropped back to P14 because of his soft tires. He'll probably want to come into the pits pretty soon. And he can praise himself very lucky that there is a safety car, because otherwise he'll have to come into the pits. When there is no safety car, you'll even lose more positions, more time, and all that kind of stuff. The Red Bull driver does come into the pits, so does Mr. Wiggles. And Oliver stays out on the hards. Everyone is coming into the pits. Mad G almost going into the back of Utkar's right there. And we've got both the medium tire runners coming into the pits. Calvin racing on the medium tires. Energy Dan with a 5-second time penalty. Absolutely not great for Energy Dan at this point, as he was looking at a great position, but because of that 5-second time penalty, and he's even going on to the softs. What is this tire strategy for Energy Dan? Might have misclicked. I'm not sure about that, but might have misclicked. And everyone else is going on to the medium tires. I think they're assuming there's going to be a late safety car. Who was the other driver who was also on the mediums? Was it Bossy Gaming? I think it was, wasn't it? Was on the medium tires. He's gone on another set of mediums. Mansell on his 1 lap old hard tires comes out on track right in front of the V car. I mean, right in front of Cassidy, because Cassidy is the one coming into the pits on the medium tires. Unfortunately, Alex Hawks left the session. And at the back, we're looking at 2 drivers starting on the hard tires. I mean, going into the pits for the hard tires. They started on the medium tires, possibly. Mindful was being one of them. He's got that 5-second time penalty, though. Billy G also on the hard tires. And I feel like these strategies are not making any sense. You know, you've got a lot of guys starting on the medium tires, but you cannot make those mediums last till the end of the race. So they'll have to hope for a late safety car. And the hard tires would have lasted. I think 22 laps on the hards would be possible. But I can't tell you for sure. Just gonna listen to the live stream one more time to see if the quality is actually there. Yeah, sounds about right. What song should I sing, guys? What song should I sing? Let me think of something. What is something very, very well known under British people? Oh, I know one. I'm Mr. Brightside. Na, 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 na. Na, na. I don't know. Oh wait, I need to find the lyrics because I actually don't know the lyrics. Hold up a second. Mr. Brightside. Ba ba. Okay. No, 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 okay, and I'll be doing just fine. No, 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 Lord, no, 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 kiss, no, no, no. Okay, I'm coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. It started out with a kiss. How did it end up like this? It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss. Now I'm feeling asleep and she's calling a cab while he's having a smoke and she's taking a drag. Now they're going to bed and my stomach is sick and it's all in my head. But he's touching his... Wait, hold up. But she's touching his chest. Now he takes off her dress. Now, please let me go. I just can't look. It's killing me. And taking control. Jealousy. Turning saints into the sea, swimming through sick lullabies, choking on your alibis. But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up my eager eyes. I'm Mr. Brightside. No, it's not copyright because I can't sing like the guy does. I'm Mr. Brightside. Ba 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 da da ba da 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 ba ba. Oh, why is this safety car taking forever? It came out in lap 9, and we're gonna be seeing it come in again in lap 13. It takes forever. Oh, by the way, Smoke, welcome, mate. How are you doing? We haven't been seeing you lately in the live stream. How have you been doing, bud? By the way, how is everyone else doing? Because, I mean, I'm not talking to too many people, and it could definitely be helping through a safety car situation. That's what she said. And I'll be just fine before I want it all. It started off with a kiss. How can we end up like this? It was only a kiss. Wait, there is another one I like too. Na na na, the eye of your eye. Don't you know you might find a better place to be? And so Sally can wait. She knows it's too late as we're walking on by. Okay, the safety car is coming up into the pits. Singing Thomas goes back into the pits too. By the way, it is the safety car guy singing these songs. You know, he's cruising around the Imola Grand Prix. You know, it's actually quite funny. Oh, we might want to focus on the safety car restart first. I really wonder when Oliver is going to go. It's green flags and go, go, go. He's not going quite yet. He's not going quite yet. He goes onto the brakes. Galvin Racing, you should start a music career. I love it. Appreciate it. Oh, Oliver goes onto the brakes. MCFC now coming into the pits. Not sure what that kind of strategy is. Here comes Utgars up the inside. Possibly not. He uses a lot of ERS. While he's not going to be able to make that overtake. So usually a lot of guys tend to make an overtake with the use of the ERS, but if your ERS is not helping, you shouldn't be using any ERS, and I think Utgars did not quite get that. Oh, here comes Bossy Gaming making the overtake on Keeves. Beautiful overtake. Mansell and Energy Dan having a side-by-side battle. Seems like Mansell goes off track a little bit. Doran making the overtake on the Haas driver right now. As we might be looking at Mark Querty in P12. Surprising result from the Aston Martin. I don't think we've ever seen him finish anywhere near the top 10. As it seems like Cassidy, a little bit of wheel banging between Mark Querty and the V-car. Mark Querty and Cassidy, I should say. As it seems like he's going to lose another position to Ellie. Ellie trying to make the overtake. It seems like there's another lead of the race. That is Calvin Racing making the overtake on Oliver. Here comes Mr. Wiggles. Up the inside he goes. Is that going to be overtake done for the Alfa Romeo? Does look like it. He's going to give that position for free, it seems like. Here he goes up the inside. Oliver all the way going off track. Does he have front wing damage? Does he have front wing damage? I wouldn't say so. Might have rear wing damage, though. Is he coming back into the pits? He's not coming into the pits, so just a bit unlucky for the Haas driver. And now Calvin Racing takes a lead of about a second. No worries at all, Smoke. I appreciate you being here anyway. Utkarsh, oh, Mr. Wiggles, he's looking great, guys. He is looking absolutely fabulous. The fabulous Hudson Hornet is what I should say about Mr. Wiggles. I'm not sure how old he is, but he sounds old to me. Kvyat retired from the session in the pit lane, unfortunately. Mr. Wiggles with a 3-second time penalty. I mean, he doesn't sound old to me, but he acts a bit older than, for example, a Calvin Racing or... who else is young on this grid? I'm not sure. MCFC, for example, like an MCFC. Energy Dan getting a 3-second time penalty. And that 3-second time penalty for Mr. Wiggles definitely isn't helping him to get into the top 3 at the end of the race. We've got a little bit of a group of 4 people within 1 second of each other. Well, actually 3 people, because Calvin Racing is running away from Mr. Wiggles. And... Keeves managed to get back into the top 6. He didn't have a great qualifying, but I guess his tire strategy is paying off at some point. Calvin Racing on the hard tires. He's going to take those till the end of the race. Now Calvin Racing with a little bit of DRS down the straight. He's not going to be able to use that DRS yet. So you'll have to wait for one more lap. Around the outside he goes, off the Ferrari driver, makes the overtake. There's not much room given by Matt G. And Keeves has to get back into P6 because Matt G, it was looking a bit strange coming into turn 2. Seems like Doran is also trying to find his way. Oh, Keeves going a little bit too deep. He's going to get overtaken by 2-3 guys. Oh, it doesn't leave too much room for Mansell around the outside. That was Oliver. My apologies. No, that was Mansell indeed. Now, Mansell is getting overtaken by the V-car. Here comes the V-car. The V-car doesn't have a good exit. Oh, and he goes into the back of the Haas driver. Has to watch out. Possibly has a bit of front wing damage at this point. Really has to watch out with the brakes at this point. Because, you know, if he goes into the back of Mansell one more time, he might be looking at a penalty because of dangerous driving. I'm not sure what happened with him and the other driver before. Was it Mansell? I think it was Mansell, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, no, I do remember. Mansell took him out, so it's a bit of a redemption. No, I'm not saying it's on purpose, guys. Don't worry. Doran has made the overtake on Keeves. But I think Keeves is looking at him overtake down the straight with the use of DRS because he's got those fast Haas drivers behind him. Here comes the V-car with the use of DRS. Up the inside he goes. DRS wide open. He's not going to be able to make that move. It's looking quite interesting. It's track limits bingo. Yes, indeed it is. Energy Dan making the overtake on Keeves. No, it's Doran making the overtake on Energy Dan, if I'm not mistaken. Bossy Gaming with a 3-second time penalty. Keeves has a... Oh, man. Apparently, Keeves has a broken front wing. So that explains why he's going a little bit too deep or... has some awkward lines coming through the corners. We saw it coming through turn 5 and 6. He went a little bit too deep, which made him go into the gravel, which is obviously not great. Now Oliver is trying to push him into the wall. Well, push as in push the limits, not push as in tap or touch him. Seems like Cassidy is having a heated battle with a Mindful Wasp. Right on the tail of the V-car he is. Mansell, no, it's Mindful Wasp around the outside. Cassidy pushed him a little bit too deep into that corner. And Mindful Wasp is just going to be waiting. He's got the DRS anyway down the straight. So does Cassidy, but I feel like Mindful Wasp has a lot of straight line speed. And Ellie catching up with these guys quite well. Seems like Mansell is making the overtake on his own teammate, Oliver. And there's a little bit of chaos up ahead. Mansell now making the overtake on Keeves. Keeves who's probably going to have to come into the pits because of that broken front wing. He doesn't have a single DRS opportunity, so we might be seeing Oliver making the overtake with the use of ERS, although it seems like the V-car making the overtake around the outside. Is he going to go for it? No. He wasn't alongside of the Haas driver, and when making an overtake into turn 5, you really need to be alongside someone. Mindful Wasp drops back to P17. Might have been an incident with Ellie or Cassidy, or did he take out himself? And Doran and Matt G are having a heated battle, currently in P5 and P6. We might want to look at those position changes one more time. Doran is definitely looking at a great race here without a single penalty. The top 2 doesn't have a penalty either, and Utkarsh managed to find himself in the top 2. Because he wasn't looking great at the beginning of the race, but I feel like going onto the medium tires did do him good. He's 1.9 seconds behind Calvin Racing at this point. 1.7, he's gaining a bit of time down the straight, which might be great. Here comes Doran, 4/10s behind Matt G. DRS wide open for the Alpine driver. Why are we not watching Doran? We should be watching Doran. We should be watching Doran. Down the inside he goes. He's backing out of it. It was definitely an opportunity for Doran. He should have just launched it up the inside. The V-car now making the overtake on Oliver. And also Cassidy is going to try and find his way around the Haas driver. Oliver, who doesn't have a single ERS left. As you can see at the back of his car, he's blinking. He's blinking, which is obviously not great. Cassidy with a good exit. Oh, goes onto the gravel a little bit, but no, not much damage has been done. Ellie on the tail of the Red Bull driver. Here she comes through turn 7. As they're now entering the difficult part of the track, so you don't want to make an overtake anywhere. Oh, the V-car going too deep into turn 8. Because I need to take a quick sip of water because I'm thirsty. Let's go back on board with Cassidy. Cassidy trying to make the overtake on Oliver. He might have noticed that Oliver is a little bit slower, and I'm not sure why that is. Does he have a broken front wing? We saw him be slower at the beginning of the safety car restart too. Those first 2 laps, he was just really slow. He lost a lot of positions, and we've only got 13 more laps to go, so I feel like he's really under pressure from behind. Cassidy, Ellie, both of those drivers are able to keep up with Oliver, which is not usually the case. I mean, at least Ellie isn't able to keep up with Oliver most of the time. And it seems like Cassidy made the overtake down the straight. Let's go back to P6 and P5. Seems like Matt G is still in a heated battle with Doran. He cannot find his way around the Alpine driver yet, but he might be able to soon. As also Utgars finds himself somewhere near the race. Tires are gone. From who? Oh, but... Oh, right, he didn't come into the pits yet. Right, thank you, mate. Thank you, I didn't notice that. So, oh, Mr. Wiggles and Bossy Gaming side by side, but Bossy Gaming is going to back out of it. We haven't seen Bossy Game. Oh, what a beautiful move by the Mercedes driver. Look at that, he did go off track, which is obviously not allowed. But at least if he got a warning for it, I didn't mind it. He did make an overtake, and it was absolutely beautiful by the Mercedes driver. But, Smoke, thank you very much. It is indeed that Oliver's tires are gone. He's on the oldest tires of the whole grid, 18-lap-old hards. It's not great. It's not looking great. Energy Dan coming into the pits. 9 laps seems to be the pit lane pit window for the soft tires. As it doesn't seem like many drivers are within 1 second of each other. Mr. Wiggles with a little bit of a snap that gives the opportunity for Doran to get back to the Alfa Romeo driver at this point. And Doran, who doesn't have a penalty, will definitely help him by quite a bit, because as things are looking like right now, he's looking at a P3. A P3 for Doran. It's something we've not seen before in this. Oh, what is Mr. Wiggles doing? Oh, and another 3-second time penalty for Bossy Gaming. But Bossy Gaming, all props to him. I mean, he's been there for a lot of races already, but I feel like he backed out for the last couple of races that have been there. Now he's back, and he's getting a provisional P3, which is obviously not something we would have expected. But he's going to drop a lot of positions due to those penalties. I'm just going to have a quick look with the penalties here. 9 seconds already for Bossy Gaming, so that's quite a bit already. So he's going to lose 2 positions thanks to that. Mr. Wiggles now making the overtake up the inside of Doran. Doran doesn't have to battle for anything, because, I mean, he's not going to catch up to the top 2. He's not going to get overtaken by Matt G. And if he does get overtaken, I don't think it's going to be very important that he makes the overtake again, because I mean, Mr. Wiggles has 3 seconds, Bossy Gaming has 9 seconds, Matt G has 6 seconds, Mansell has 8 seconds, and now he does make the overtake up the inside of Mr. Wiggles. So that will be doing him good. I guess he doesn't need to make any risks, he doesn't need to take any risks, he's just free to go wherever he wants, whatever he wants to do. He's got that that P3 in the bag anyway, unless he messes up really bad. But I don't see that happen at the back of the grid. We are looking at some tight battles between Klusser, and no, we don't. Doran is the most underrated driver of the division. Yes and no. I agree with you to a certain point, because Doran, he's been, I'm not gonna say he's been poor lately, but his qualifying pace could definitely be a little bit better. Let's go back to... Oh, Bossy Gaming seems to be coming into the pits. Yes, indeed he does. And now Mr. Wiggles looking to make a move up the inside. The air is open for the Alfa Romeo. Doran seems to be making a move up the inside again, but he backs out of it. Now Matt G is caught up. It's a 3-way battle for the top 3. And it seems like the Alfa Romeo had a little bit of a snap coming through turn 4. Into turn 5 and 6 they go. Doran still with a provisional P3. Mr. Wiggles up the inside. Definitely doesn't want to take the Alpine driver out. And he's getting attacked from behind. Definitely needs to watch out, because if he catches one more penalty, he's going to be in contention with Matt G for that P4. which the Alfa Romeo team could definitely use. The V-Car caught up to P7 with another amazing result, another amazing comeback race. So that is something we did not expect from the V-Car. He was looking at a P3 at some point during this race and got crashed out by Mansell. And now he's looking back at a P7. So Mansell definitely getting a penalty because of that incident, I think. Because, I mean, he took out the V-Car with a good... I mean, I'm not going to continue saying it. Wait. Oh, Calvin Racing coming into the pits. Fair enough. Utkar's not coming into the pits yet. Mindful was with a 3-second time penalty. Doran making the overtake. And it doesn't look like anyone else is coming into the pits yet. We might want to have a quick look what tires he's gone on. Medium tires for Calvin Racing. He started on the hards. So hard, medium, medium seems to be the right strategy here. Well, is it though? It's still 9 more laps. So wouldn't it be better if he had gone onto the soft tires? I'm not 100% sure. Billy G has caught up to Calvin Racing though. I think this might be a very feisty battle. Also Mindful Wasp. Look at that. Look at that. Mindful Wasp making the overtaking. Billy G going onto the grass, which is unfortunate because I would have loved a lovely battle between those two. And I'm still waiting to blow my nose at the moment. Where's my tissue? Oh, there it is. I'm just gonna blow my nose real quick, guys, because I've been waiting for that for a couple of laps already. And I was also about to watch the standings and all the results that the guys have had over the last couple of weeks. Because Doran, as you said, and I'm gonna reply back, Utkar's coming into the pits, Doran not coming into the pits, neither is Mr. Wiggles, neither is Matt G. So how are you gonna extend those medium tires? That is a good question. Seems like Utkar's is going onto the soft tires. He might be getting in front of Calvin Racing at some point. Is he? Oh no, he's not. Look at that. Wow, he's such far way back from Calvin Racing. He even drops back to P10. Wow, that is not something we would have expected. Division 2 is the division we're looking at. Keeves is the guy. No, who is the guy we're looking at? Dorn is the guy we're looking at. He hasn't been on the podium at all this season, which is not bad. He only had 1 DNF and 1 did not start. He's got no penalty points. He's not doing bad. He's consistent, but he's not necessarily fast. But he's proving the exact opposite today because he's currently in the lead of the race. Of course, we still have to look at Calvin Racing coming back. How many seconds is he behind? He is 13 seconds behind. So Doran, if he comes into the pits right now, man, I'm not sure. Maggie seems to be making the overtake on Mr. Wiggles. Cassidy seems to be making the overtake on the V-Car. The V-Car could have definitely extended those hard tires till the end of the race. I think that would have done him great. Now coming into the pits to go into the soft tires is going to drop him back a lot of positions. I'm not sure. He's still looking at great points though, but those soft tires will possibly not be good enough to gain him a lot of positions still. I'm not sure if it was the best decision for the V-Car to come into the pits. I think it would be more realistic if Dorn and Matt G and Mr. Wiggles came into the pits, because they are on 15 lap old mediums. At the end of the race, they will be on 22 lap old mediums. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're gonna last till the end of the race, because we saw Oliver struggle on those hard tires still. I mean, they were on 18 lap old hards, and he was struggling. And it seems like Calvin Racing is definitely catching up. Look at that. 2 lap old mediums. He's definitely within within 10 seconds of the top 2. And both Maggie and Mr. Wiggles are coming into the pits right now. They will be going onto the soft tires. Yeah, I think Calvin Racing is going to win another race here, guys. He's going to win another race. He's done a great strategy coming into the pits to go onto the medium tires. He'll be able to stretch those mediums till the end of the race. Cassidy coming into the pits too to go onto the soft tires. Mindful Wasp is on the tail of Ellie. Might be looking at an overtake anytime soon. Mindful Wasp also being on the medium tires. Ellie on the soft tires. And it seems like Ellie's going to let him go through. Defending the inside line. She is indeed defending in the inside line, but is it going to be enough? It doesn't look like it. Let's go back to the front of the pack. Keeves on the tail of Mad G. Keeps being on those 8-lap-old mediums. He's going to get attacked from behind by Mr. Wiggles and the V-Car. The V-Car being on 1-lap-old softs, 2.3 seconds behind. Here comes Mr. Wiggles. Keeves is also blinking, so he's got no ERS left. It's not looking great for Keeves. This has not been the race he had been hoping for. He didn't have a great qualifying either, so I feel like it was just a track that didn't suit him. Kelvin is Thanos right now. He is inevitable. He is indeed. He got a last to first challenge last week. Now he's making the overtake on Mansell down the straight with the use of DRS. And he only has a 7.4 second gap to Doran. Mindful Wasp with another 3-second time penalty. Not looking great. 5 more laps to go. Doran might be able to pull this off. Although, I don't think so. 7 seconds he needs to, well, Calvin Racing needs to improve by about 1.2 seconds a lap to be able to catch up to Doran. I think he'll be able to. Those mediums are just too fresh at this point. Look at how much time Mansell is losing to Calvin Racing in only a sector. Although, look at Calvin Racing. He's not really gaining a second and a half on Doran. Mad G making the overtake. Also Mr. Wiggles making the overtake on Billy. Around the outside he goes. Inside line at the moment. But he's going to be right on the tail of Mad G. Here they come. Into Sector 2. Into Sector 3. Bossy Gaming with a 3-second time penalty. It's not looking great for the Mercedes driver all the way in P5. But he had 9 seconds already. Is this going to be his 12th? Well, his 4th penalty. Oh, and Klisser is going to let a lot of guys through. He had a great race at the beginning of the race, but I feel like he dropped down a lot of positions. Not too sure what that was for, but doesn't matter too much. Doesn't matter too much. I mean, he's done a great race. It wasn't just for today. And Calvin Racing did indeed gain a lot of seconds. I think he gained about 2 seconds last lap. Here comes Mr. Wiggles around the outside. He goes off Mad G. Beautifully done. A lot of room has been given. They're going side by side. Oh, and Mr. Wiggles has to back out. We've seen that from Mad G before. He coming into turn 1. He gives a lot of points, a lot of room. But then in the next corner, he doesn't leave too much room, so the guys have to back out of it. It's really interesting to see. I don't know if it's some kind of strategy, trying to force him a little bit wide, force him onto the curb to make him slow down. I have no idea, but it's a good strategy because nobody has been able to make an overtake on Mad G yet through that part of the track. Calvin has gained 2 seconds in 1 lap. Yeah, correct. He's 3 seconds behind Doran at the moment. They're heading in lap 30 out of the 32, or is it already, or is it still 29? I'm still a bit confused about the lap system of this game. We are looking at, they've just entered lap 29. Here he comes, Mr. Wiggles up the inside of Mad G, making the overtake. Because here's the interesting thing about this game, though. When you're reaching lap 25 or something like that, when you're reaching like 80% of the race, the laps on the left side of your screen count from the driver you're looking at. But from the moment, it seems like Billy goes a little bit too deep. But from the moment you've entered more than 80% of the race, the laps on the left side count from the driver in P1. So if he comes across the line, that lap data changes. It's really strange. I have no idea. I haven't figured it out yet, but I mean, I guess it is the algorithm. Utkarsh, we're right on the tail of Mansell. he might be looking at a good result. We didn't see that from Utgars. Well, we didn't expect that from Utgars. He's now making the overtake on Mansell. And that is going to be overtake done. He doesn't have too much ERS left, so I think Mansell will have the benefit there. And he might be able to make the overtake down the street. I don't know. Never mind. Mansell, 21 lap old hards. He's done a great job staying on those hards, because I don't think if he would have come into the pits to go onto the soft tires, he would have made it into the top 5. But now he's looking at a top 4 position. Bossy Gaming has a lot of penalties anyway. Let's go back to Mr. Wiggles on the tail of Mad G. Oh wait, Calvin Racing has caught up to Doran. We might be looking at an overtake pretty soon. 2 more laps to go after this one. Yeah, Calvin Racing is probably going to run away with this race win. Or he's going to have an incident with Doran. That would be quite funny. Utgars is going to run away with the race win. I mean, it wouldn't be funny, by the way, guys. It wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't be funny. I wouldn't be laughing at all. Here he comes down the straight. He's possibly not going to be doing any risky stuff. He's just going to go down the inside with the use of DRS. Very smart of Calvin Racing. And Doran shouldn't be battling too much either. You know, a P2 is something he could have hoped for at the beginning of the race. He could have hoped for it. And now his dream has become a reality. 2 more laps to go. Well, 1.5 laps to go. With Doran still in P2. Let's go back to Mr. Wiggles right on the tail of Mad G. We've seen those guys having some very interesting battles already. Mr. Wiggles, who's got a 3-second time penalty, and Mad G, who's got a 6-second time penalty. For this, at this point, Mr. Wiggles is looking at a P6, but we don't know if he can get that penalty removed. Maybe the both of them need to work together to get back to Bossy Gaming, because Bossy Gaming has 12 seconds of time penalties. And, you know, if they're within 6 seconds of Bossy Gaming, he might be, well, they might be looking at a P5. Mr. Wiggles might even be looking at a P4 if they can catch up to Mansell. MCFC in P16 seems to be making the overtake on Mark QWERTY. Oliver also on the tail of Keeves. Here he comes. Oh, almost takes out Keeves. It was a little bit of a switcheroonie there. Down the inside he goes of the chicane. Oh, and Keeves, there he goes. A little bit of a tap off Oliver, but I don't think too much could have been done to avoid that. And Keeves drops back to P13, possibly P14, and he does indeed drop back. No, he makes the overtake on Billy. Into the last lap we go. We're looking at a very feisty battle between Mad G and Mr. Wiggles. Of course, Mr. Wiggles doesn't know whether Mad G is going to be able to get a 3-second time penalty removed. So he needs to get ahead of the Ferrari driver anyway, in case a penalty would get removed, you know. Billy also on the tail of Keefe, so we might be looking at a feisty battle there at the back of the grid. Late into the race, and then we're going to be seeing so many position changes at the end of the race because of all the penalties we've had already. 12 seconds for Bossy Gaming, 8 seconds for Mansell. It is chaos. Cassidy with 8 seconds is not something I would have expected. Keeves, who doesn't have a penalty, so he's going to gain 1 or 2 positions. And it seems like it is going to be Mr. Wiggles in a provisional P6, but of course we don't know whether Mad G's penalties is going to get removed. He still has a lot of ERS in the tank, so I'm always thinking, like, wouldn't it be better if you used all of that ERS last lap? Because, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, the V-car up in P5. That is a great result for the Alfa Romeo driver after getting crashed out by Mansell. The back of the grid, it doesn't look like anyone is going to be able to make a move anymore. Both the McLaren drivers not looking great. Oh, and Billy catches another 3-second time penalty coming around the last corner. That is the worst. That is the worst feeling ever. That is the worst feeling ever. MCFC and Mark QWERTY are the only 2 drivers still having to come into the pits, across the line, not into the pits. I mean, they also will have to come into the pits sometime, but not now. There goes Mark Querty. Great race by the Aston Martin driver, but unfortunately it was not going to be the Formula 1 Qatar Airways Grand Prix, Emilia Romagna, whatever it was, I have no idea. Martin in the chat says, epic for Doran. Well, happy for Doran. Epic stint on the mediums. Yes, indeed. I didn't think he was going to be able to extend those till the end of the race, but he did anyway. He did a great job. Calvin Racing, Doran was mega impressive tonight. He was indeed. My driver of the day is indeed going to be Doran. Great race, buddy. Calvin Racing in P1. He started in P1, so not too much of a surprise. Doran in P2 and Utkarsh in P3. He's also done a great race. Mansell, even with an 8-second time penalty, he still managed to get into P4. The V-car, after getting crashed out, still in P5, so a great, impressive race from him too. Mr. Wiggles in P6. Fastest lap goes to Bossa Gaming. He got from P17 to P7. Matt G in P8. Cassidy in P9. And Oliver finishes up the top 10 right where he started this race. Further, we've got Keeves, Mindful Wasp, Ellie, Energy Dan, and Billy G. MCFC, Mark Querty, Klisser, and then we've got our 2 DNFs being Kvyat and Alex Hawk. I need to remove my camera real quick, because otherwise the guys are not going to be able to see anything. Here we go. There we go. So the guys in the admin team will be able to get the live stream, or I mean the results from my live stream if they want to. Of course, if they don't want to, that's also fine. But guys, I'm going to thank you very much for watching the live stream. My name is Phoebe Thomas. The race has been interestingly well, how do you say that? Interesting, chaotic, and full of action. So make sure to rewatch the race if you haven't already. And I'm going to call it the night. I hope you guys are going to be having a great day, a great week, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.